Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. Today, slightly different kind of video. In a moment, I'll be looking at some family heirlooms, some timepieces I never showed on the channel before. So I might as well take the opportunity while I'm here in the United Kingdom to share those with you. Also, we're going to catch up with Duncan Casey. Yes, finally, the legend that is Duncan Casey, the actor, producer, and of course commentator on the Oliver Harper channel. I had the privilege of doing a commentary yesterday afternoon. So in the morning I went and got these timepieces out of the bank vault. In the afternoon I went to Cambridge, which was absolutely fantastic. I'll tell you a little bit about that in just a moment. But before, I've got to do a wristwatch check. I'm wearing the NTH, I would say 60s military inspired dive watch that I recently purchased. I haven't done a review about this watch. I will do it when I'm back in New York in January. There's a lot to discuss. It's a bit of a controversial watch, but also utterly fantastic with some truly unique aspects to it that really separate it from a lot of watches in its price range. So a lot to discuss, and at the end of the day, a very fun watch indeed. Fantastic size and design and color. So I'm having tremendous fun, and I decided to wear this today. I was doing a spot of shooting this morning, so what better than a military inspired dive watch? So stay tuned for that. But first of all, let's catch up with Duncan Casey in Cambridge. So I made my way over there yesterday. Very cool to see the city. I haven't been to Cambridge since I was a child. It's a place very special to me because my grandfather attended Trinity there. A lot of my family went to Cambridge. Unfortunately, I'm not nearly as academic. My slow brain is just not suited to that kind of academia. But anyway, I'm hopefully trying to make up for it in different ways. One of the highlights was, of course, seeing King's College, where they have the Christmas carols every year, which is just not Christmas until I hear those beautiful choral sounds echoing in that stunning vaulted ceilings and the stained glass, and of course that beautiful Rubens, that giant painting of Christ, of course. I think it's the Adoration of Christ. Art fans do correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, so without further ado, let's change perspectives and catch up with Duncan. Okay guys, so I'm joined by the legendary Duncan Casey. Wristwatch check, sir.
Oh, we're Speedy Wednesdays today. I don't know if that's a thing. I think it is. Probably not.
It will be now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're in Cambridge. I'm here to record a commentary on Oliver Harper's channel. And guys, if you're not familiar with Oliver Harper, you should be by now. I've put a link on my main page. I'll leave a link in the description. Fantastic retrospectives, reviews, commentaries, and of course Duncan Casey's on it. And if you missed the James Bond live shows, I'll leave a link to the first one, so do check those out. So how have you been, sir?
I've been well, thank you. Yeah, not bad at all. Just surviving the good old British winter.
Yeah, it is a bit a bit grim. Yeah. Sorry, I can't take my eyes off of these beautiful buildings. And you grew up here, you were saying.
I did. Even since I left a couple of years ago to buy a house, and it's changed. Even then, it's always changing, it seems. But still got the old architecture.
Yeah, but the architecture remains the same. Any new watches on the horizon?
Oh, I don't know. I've got a wedding to pay for at the moment.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
It would be nice, but I've got my eye on a few things.
So I saw you eyeing an AP, right?
Yeah, which you're not a fan of, I know. But
I'm
the Royal Oak.
Yeah,
just the standard one. Just
the standard.
I'm not greedy.
Yeah,
I just want a normal little tiny Royal Oak.
Yeah, I don't mind the Royal Oak. It's growing on me. I'm not a big Genta fan. I do love the pole router with the Universal Genève.
You like the Ageneur though, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yeah, and that's very like the. But I don't think that was him. I think it was inspired
Right.
Buy his designs or something. I've reviewed it. I should know this kind of stuff. Actually, I've been looking at a few APs too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but not the Royal Oak. Though.
No,
Yeah.
old. Yeah, AP's changed so much. It seems like they only push the Royal Oak now.
It's been such a, success for them, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the offshore as well is
Absolutely. Yeah.
big in many ways.
So I've brought you a Sinn.
I'm very excited, man. That's
Good.
really kind of you.
Good.
Because getting to try them out is very
Yeah.
hard here. I don't know if you have a lot of dealerships like in the States, but here.
No, for Sinn, I think there's one distributor, and the only way you can get to see them is when they do like a tour.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And I think Page and Cooper in London might have carries in. I can't remember. Probably, I'm not sure.
How do people normally get them then? Is it just online?
Yeah. You have to order online. And it's you'll see why I'm so obsessed with Sinn, especially in terms of their quality. Because you told me you never had a German watch.
No, never.
Right.
Never.
Interesting. I wonder if we'll convert you.
They look amazing. I mean, they look very. In fact, is it the 104
Yeah, I brought you the 104. Yeah.
has a similar-ish look in terms of its, the black white of the dial and the hands is similar actually to the Speedy in a lot of ways.
Yes,
but it has really. I mean, that, and I think it's the 103 that I really like the look of as well.
Oh yeah, the 103. Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful watch. Like, because it's just that sort of German take on that genre of watch that I think just looks
Absolutely.
stunning. And they're very good at dress watches as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Lange and stuff. But yeah.
If you had to pick a German brand, I mean, which brands take your fancy when it comes to the German watches?
Sinn, Lange. Is it Nomos Glasshooter?
Yes.
It's a sort of the kind of watch I'd have to be in the mood for, but they do cater to some. They just have that. I don't know how to describe it. The finishing on their movements is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're quietly amazing. They don't typically German. They don't tend to make too much of a song and dance about it, but I think they're incredible. The Germans are the best at most engineering things like cars. Beer.
Beer. Yeah. Actually, I must say I prefer the Belgian. I do like Belgian beer.
That's also
I probably offended my German audience. There is a functionality to. They're unpretentious. They serve their purpose. They're not trying to be flashy or anything like that. Also, I love the. Of course, Bauhaus came from Germany, so they have a tradition of doing things just right, just enough. They don't. And I think that aesthetic goes into everything they do.
They're very good at blending form and function, though, because I think it starts with function a lot of the time, but you could never accuse them of being, function over form and not having great design language in everything they do. But it is a language, I think that's really the best way to describe it, is that they do a lot of German design. You see it in their cars especially, like it's designed to say something. Like BMW, they have the famous Hofmeister kink in the C-pillar, which is the back that comes back on itself, and it's just designed to make the car look like it's moving forward even when it's stationary and that kind of thing.
Interesting.
It's smart design.
Smart design. Yeah, that's it. I think smart design. I think that's a perfect phrase to sum it up. Just remind me, what is in your collection again? Because you got a GMT. You got the GMT Master 2, right?
I do. I have a Pepsi GMT from about 2002, I think.
Speedy, obviously.
Got Speedy. Got a Seamaster.
Of course you got
Quartz.
it. Yeah.
Well,
you have a vintage Seiko. That
I do, and I forgot to
dad's?
bring it. I was going to show it to you.
Was it your dad's?
Bloody forgot to bring it. Yes, it was my dad's. I actually had the back off it the other day for the first time.
Oh, really?
To check it out, and the movement's a stunning little thing.
Is it?
Yeah, and I'm gutted that I forgot to bring it. But It's I'll have to take a load of pictures and send it to you.
Yeah,
I think you'd like it. It's a really nice sort of square cushion case.
Right. It's probably 70s, I'm guessing.
Yes, yeah, that would make sense. And it's got like a sunburst kind of silver dial and stuff.
Nice.
It's really nice. Yeah, really, really lovely little thing.
Is it still going?
It is. I need to get it serviced though because it will tick for a bit and stop.
Right.
So I'm guessing the mainspring needs replacing and
Right.
probably just needs oiling as well. So, but I mean, I had a look at the movement and there's no damage to it that I can see. So.
I'm sure after a service it will go for another 30, 40. Those things are tanks. I mean, really, especially that era of Seiko.
Yeah.
They knew exactly what they were doing. Well, they still know what they're doing. What am I saying? Nice.
Yeah. Then I've got my date just as well.
Of course. White dial, I remember?
That's right. White dial. I think I've got it in the boot, but I can't remember because I was packing stuff to get down into this morning. So, but I think I've got them in the boot, so you can check them out.
Cool. I tell you what, I'll lend you the Sinn until you're bored of it. Then you may...
I may never get bored of it.
I
wouldn't put that on.
Okay.
No, I like it too much. I can't have it back now.
Yeah.
You better put a time limit on it.
Well, take as long as you want. I will start missing it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know.
But and I've put it on a lovely collar red because you haven't experienced the wonders of collar red, mate.
No, I haven't. No.
My friend, shout out to Fabio in Rome.
Hey, Fabio.
Yeah, they're so adorable. I mean, they send me panettone and pandoro and Christmas and
nice.
it's such a sweet family. The whole family is in the same business, and they make such incredible straps. They don't ask, heaven and earth for them. They're not greedy. They make quality, and you can email them, and their service is you deal with the person that made the strap. You know, I almost hope they don't get too successful because I don't want it to. That family feel is there, that family thing, and it's very special. So I've put it on one of those, which we do carry on the website now.
Hey.
Yeah. So yeah, let me know what you think. We'll do live show, and then you can give me your take on the 104.
I'd love to. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Yeah.
Cool. I think we'll leave it there because my arm is about to fall off. So this reminds me of boom operation days.
Right. Yeah, that's hard. Above your head. That's hard going.
Especially. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. We'll catch you later.
Ciao.
So afterwards, we went to record a special commentary with the legend that is Oliver Harper. Massive fan of his channel. I've been watching him for years, so it was a little bit surreal to be behind the camera. Well, actually behind the microphone, I should say. I won't give spoilers away, but it's a film close to my heart. And there was actually a few wristwatches in it too, but I will announce it when he publishes it on his channel in due course, so stay tuned for that. So a big honor and a massive privilege. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for being wonderful hosts. To bring it back to watches, let's now change perspectives and have a closer look at some family heirlooms. So here we are, and I thought as I was visiting the bank vault, I might as well take the opportunity to share my grandfather's signet ring. This is what inspired me to design my own, and it bears the family crest on it, which is of course the rampant lion holding the Crusader cross. Obviously I do not wear it. This is 18 karat yellow gold. I have worn it actually on special occasions, but because it is his ring, even though it is family tradition to hand it down, I just don't want to risk chipping that beautiful engraved, exquisitely done rampant lion. So the stone is carnelian, and it has a beautiful translucent quality to it, a rich dark red. Now this of course is in reverse because it was intended as a wax seal. Now if you saw earlier videos of my signet rings, you'd have seen I had a stamp. Unfortunately I don't have it with me here, that has the same engraved again in the reverse. So you don't have to dirty up your ring, but that was originally what it was intended for, like a kind of a signature of sorts, dating back since the medieval era. So I thought I might as well revisit that old friend. Now, talking on my grandfather, we should really talk about the Frodsham, the Charles Frodsham, which was his pocket watch. He did actually have two pocket watches. Another one, a silver piece, which was left to somebody else in my family. But I was very fortunate enough to inherit this particular piece. And as you can see, as I move it, you'll notice the blued hands. Actually, a little bit similar to the ones in my Omega, with the poire tip on the hours, that beautiful subdial. Very classic, delicate Romans, and a simple rail track, minute track running around the outside. Very, very classic. Enamel dial, of course, 18 karat yellow gold case, and on the back we see again the rampant lion as we saw in the signet ring. But the magic really starts when you open this beauty up. You'll see the hallmarks on the inside there, and then this hand engraved movement. Wow, look at that. Blued screws, of course, and look at that balance with the weights added to the balance wheel, and the hairspring, of course, is also blued. To wind it, the crown is incorporated into the bail here, and it might just go. Let's fingers crossed. Quite tricky to do, quite tough, but a little nudge and off it goes. Oh, wonderful, look at that. Just needed a little push start, like an old motor. So look at the beautiful hand engraved bridge there, signed Charles Frodsham, London. Now, Charles Frodsham, if you're unaware, was a very historically important clockmaker and watchmaker, I should say, from London. His company produced maritime chronometers. I think for the longest time, their history is second to none, and they made watches for members of the royal family. So very prestigious. And, you know, I kind of started at the deep end with a I guess you could say, a historic haute horology piece. Even though this is one of the most basic of his pocket watches, it still has historic significance. Now, it's not worth that much, sadly, because they're just not as desired. However, it's priceless to me because of its, obviously, because, you know, it was my grandfather's, and he had it on a chain and fob in his, typically on a three-piece on the inner waistcoat. And you can see that seconds is going. We've got the blued hands on the seconds on the subdial there. So amazing that it still goes. Staggering. A thing of phenomenal beauty, and it's just priceless to me. This dates from about the late 1800s. You see the regulator there, S and F, so slower and faster with little increments there. There's a wonderful tick to it. Those blued screws really pop. Amazing. Anyway, yeah, I could just spend ages looking at this, so very special indeed. So let's move on now to, yes, a Rolex. Now this is a darling little ladies' wristwatch from the 1920s. I don't really know that much about it. I inherited it off a family member, and unfortunately Rolex on the dial has kind of faded off. You can still see part of the L and part of the E there. It still goes, so it's manual wind, has a wonderful action to it. Romans on the dial. Again, very simple, no seconds on this one. Solid 9 carat with a sprung stretch bracelet, as you can see there. I wasn't aware that Rolex made these bracelets as far back as the 1920s, but very cool indeed. The magic really happens when you open up the back, and there you can see the movement, and it's going as well. Staggering, look at that. Can you see that, guys? Now, I don't know much about this particular watch, and I'm going to take it back to New York. You can see the hallmarks there, because I think I'm going to sell this piece. I need to do research on it. Guys, if you know anything about 1920s, obviously pre-oyster, so quite rudimentary in today's standards, but it is a Rolex. A beautifully clean movement with lots of detail there. Sorry, it's a bit difficult. It's so small. It's fairly undecorated, but we do have a little regulator there. Amazing condition, considering. I think probably because it's solid gold, it hasn't tarnished. and it's a miracle it still works. So very cool. And you see the red 12. This was very typical of watches of that era. Even the Seiko Laurel, the very first Seiko wristwatch, had a red 12. I guess it was to help distinguish which way up it was at a glance. Although I could be wrong, guys, do correct me, but very cool. So it feels like a little pocket watch, but then it's attached by a single lug. It's very, very, it's quite flimsy, very light, but beautiful piece. I love the onion style crown there. So we'll just close that up. Very cool indeed, and remarkably good condition. Shame about the fading on the dial. Obviously their printing on enamel dials has got far more, or their printing in general has got far more resistant to fading. Gorgeous little piece. Actually, we should really display that so you can see it in all its glory. Get some sun on that lovely stone. Last but by no means least is my mother's Cartier Tank. Now, she had an old Cartier Tank before this, and this was, unfortunately, I think she lost it in the 80s, so she replaced it with this, which is a Must de Cartier from the 80s, quartz piece, but we do have the lovely blued hands. So it's silver, it's sterling silver that has vermeil, but when they used to do this back in the day, it's quite thick and it's held up beautifully well. I love the iconic Romans, of course, slightly different to your typical because they usually have the Romans going all the way around. We have the sapphire cabochon on the crown, which of course is typical of the Cartier Tank ever since the first one. Let's just get the old made in England ruler. Yeah, so it's about 20 millimeters by what is that? 25, 26, 20, about. I'd say about 28, so it is on the smaller side, but wonderful. And she's fitted it with a new, I think this is a Hirsch, is this a Hirsch? So it's a newer strap, which really works. I think the older strap got faded, but stunning. It has that old world class to it, and I think, fitting of my mum. So the layout on this one is much more Art Deco inspired. The symmetry, shades of yellow gold from a matted to a more glossy, I guess you could say. The beautiful rectangles, a lot more Art Deco than your typical Cartier Tank, which was a lot more turn of the century stylistically. And I think people forget that the Cartier has been an icon for 100 years now, 1917. So it's one of the longest running iconic watches of all time, forever certified as the accessory of any kind of sophisticated lady. You look at Jackie Onassis, but even men. I mean, Muhammad Ali famously wore a Cartier Tank, and then right up to the modern day with the actor John Hamm wearing one fantastically, very casually, and it still looks great. And that's what I mean about timeless classic designs. They transcend time, they really do. A bit of the family tradition, as you guys know. The men wore JLC, the women wore Cartier. It's just how it's been. So it's the quintessential Cartier, just a slightly different dial, not the white. I think she had the white dial previously. My wife has the modern, the Solo, the XL, which is the modern, I guess, descendant of this, or the classic Tank. Very sophisticated, very classic, tasteful, understated, but yet, a little bit of pop with the yellow gold tone to it, even though it's silver underneath. But yeah, you can pick these up for an absolute bargain for well under $1,000. Certainly a wonderful way to own an iconic watch affordably. So there we go. Actually, I should just mention, what's the diameter of this piece? Let's just quickly get the diameter in. Wow. So what is that? That's about 24, 23. It's very typical of its day, but elegant all the same. Very elegant. So there we go. And you'll notice it's all yellow gold tone. I guess that was the tradition. Lots of blued hands, lots of yellow gold, classic Romans, and lots of class, which is typical of my family members, I guess. And I won't say back to the studio, I'll say back to the sitting room. Please don't forget to add your thoughts, queries, comments, opinions, all the rest of it down below, especially if you have been fortunate enough to inherit any timepieces. I'd love to hear what you cherish about them, any special stories behind them. I love hearing that kind of thing, so please do share that. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and found it useful. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Okay, ciao.